Okay, so as I was mentioning, we'll be talking about types of medical writing. We will be talking about how to be a good medical writer, and we'll talk about careers in medical writing. And that will be followed by a 30-minute discussion. So, who should attend this series? This is a very important question, both to set the expectations and identify who should attend this and who would benefit most from this. So, this series will be interesting for academia. It will be interesting for any person involved in research. Any science background like medicine, pharmacy, dentistry, science, nursing, everybody involved in science academia will benefit from this. The second audience is researchers, of course, involved in scientific research. The third is the industry, either the pharmaceutical industry, CROs, medical devices, students, of course. I was astonished in the last couple of years of the participation of students in research and how they contribute in medical writing. And of course, freelancers or future freelancers who would wish to be involved in scientific medical writing. So, beginning, I'd like to start from the concept itself. What is medical writing? So medical writing is simply the discipline of writing scientific documents by writers specialized in the field of science. So why is medical writing important? In the past several years, the importance of medical writing is steadily growing. A constant evolution of knowledge, more data, more studies, and it's very important to communicate both the idea of these studies and also the knowledge itself and the outcome of these studies. So it's very important in the coming era as well. Apologies, I'm assigning someone to post and admit because we are still getting more participants. Okay, here we go. So, who should learn medical writing? Medical writing is essential for all personnel involved in research and all personnel involved in medical regulatory affairs. So, either you should understand and know medical writing because you want to be a writer, or you are constantly reading the work of other medical writers. And of course, all who aspire to be medical writers as well. Medical writers may not be the original scientists who did the actual research. However, medical writers help them present their information in an appropriate manner. So what are the categories of medical writing? So you will find a lot of categorization of medical writing on the web. However, from my opinion, it's one of three medical writing categories. First is educational writing, which is targeting mainly healthcare professionals, educating them, or even educating patients and increasing their awareness. It aims to sum up updated information and exclude the audience on a specific topic. Examples of that are newspapers, magazine articles, patient brochures, medical websites, and others. Regulatory writing, it's the most sophisticated part of medical writing, which includes all stakeholders involved in drug development, beginning from phase 1 till phase 4. And also regulatory approvals, because there are a lot of regulatory documents that are required for this journey of development. Regulatory writing aims to communicate the results of each stage of the drug development. So beginning from the study protocol and informed consent forms going out to clinical study reports and all documents in between. Medical communications is another form of medical writing that's increasing these days. And it's really quite different than regulatory writing in the objective and the style, and having specific guidelines in the writing. Medical communications, it's more into medical marketing and creating scientific content for documents that support the medical marketing of a specific drug or device, for example. It aims to convey a medical message through various methods, beginning from advisory boards, medical presentations, infographics, brochures, and others. So if you want to sum up the types of medical writing, you will find research documents, regulatory documents, manuscripts and publications, medical education and journalism, and medical communications and marketing. So it's very important when you identify yourself as a medical writer to identify what's your aspiration, what's your preference, what's your objective from writing. Am I experienced in medical marketing, or are you experienced, for example, in research documents and regulatory documents? So I found this article, which was very interesting. This graph was really informative, stating most examples of medical writing documents, including medical communication and ending up to regulatory medical writing. So you can find promotional material. These are a material that serve a product, either pharma or device industry. You can find patient education material, which targets the patients to increase their awareness on certain topics in a specific disease or a drug. Medical journalism also, and newsletters, it's mainly involved in conveying messages and updates in a specific disease area or that interests doctors or even patients. Teaching material, it's written by medical writers, some physicians and other specialists, and sales rep also use these teaching material. Slide kits are important, book chapters are important, websites also is an increasing demand for medical writers in websites, especially in their tongue language. For example, Arabic writers, for example, French writers are requested to write for websites addressing this specific population. So having slide kits also serves a various amount of both stakeholders and audience. Having abstracts and posters that are presented in conferences is a completely different approach for medical writing. The pinnacle of medical writing as well is publications, and having systematic reviews and research manuscripts or original manuscripts for writing and for publication. Reports, either toxicology reports, regulatory responses. There are a lot of regulatory documents like clinical study reports, SURs, either PSURs or DSURs, protocols, clinical protocols, investigator brochures, any ACTD modules for regulatory submissions, SMPCs. So after even the approval of the drug, the label itself of the drug, it should be written by a medical writer, including SMPCs, prescribing informations. Every part of these documents is developed and created by a medical writer. Okay, so being a medical writer, as we said, it's different from one target to the other. So I tried to divide them into two main categories. There's a role of a medical writer in the CRO and pharmaceutical industry, and there's a role of a medical writer in marketing agencies and medical communications, and both are completely different. So CROs, for example, which are contract research organizations, mainly support the pharmaceutical industry and the medical device industry in different phases of their development from 1 till 4. So for example, there are pre-study documents that need medical writers, like, for example, synopses, protocols, ICFs, which are consent forms, and investigators' brochures and NDAs, all are important pre-study documents. After the data is collected and the study is monitored and the database lock is reached, there is a data analysis part. After that also comes the role of a medical writer in writing the comprehensive CSR, which is a collective document for the whole outcome of the study, followed by manuscripts, abstracts, posters, and others. And the last part is that the role of medical writing in marketing agencies and medical communications, it depends mainly on the launch phase of this specific drug or product. So there are pre-launch activities, which are mainly medical in their nature. There are launch activities, which is a mix of medical and commercial, and post-launch activities, which is a mix of commercial and medical. Giving examples, we have a lot of documents that medical writers are involved in, including advisory board meeting reports, like RTDs or roundtable discussion, also reports, consensus and guideline developments, CMEs, webinars, content, medical trainings, also content and training in medical writing as well. Medical marketing, we have a lot like monographs, slide decks, newsletters, medical posters, video scripts, and websites. A lot of required documents that aid and support the marketing of a specific product. So the second part is how to be a good medical writer, and this is very important. And I get this question a lot. Do I have what it takes to be a medical writer? Will I enjoy it? Is it in my personality? Should I put more effort in it? Should I put more time, effort in it? And should it be my career or not? So what's common in all the documents we have mentioned before is that there are steps for each document. First, you have to understand the project. This is a crucial step, and this is a pitfall that a lot of experienced writers fall in. So when we talk, for example, that I want a manuscript on this specific topic, on this specific data, they say, okay, don't worry, I know what to do. You have to be aligned before beginning the literature search and the writing. You have to understand the objective. What format does the sponsor or client want, or the author want? What's the writing style they prefer, and what are the timelines? And this is very important, because projects that are not set with specific timelines have a lot of delays, and from both sides as well, from both medical writing and the sponsor or the client side. The second part is the literature search, and it's very, very important to take your time. Specifically, if the disease area you're working on is not your area of experience. So take your time, spend as much time as you can in the search, find the most valuable information and collect this information. Then begin structuring, begin formulating your document. I'm not talking only about manuscripts, I'm talking about any document. You have to put the time in writing as much as you can, collect all data that you see relevant, with the supporting references. This is very crucial. So please, please, please put the references before ending the document. Do not reference after you finalize the document. It's very much time consuming. So structure, compile, reference, then begin the formatting and editing. Formatting is very important, and it depends on the guidelines and the perspective of the sponsor or the paper or the journal, you're targeting. So you have to check the text font, the size, consistency of both. Line and spacing is very important. Do they require any headers or footers, margins of the pages you are writing, and the page number, also status, where is it, and what are the criteria of it. Then going to editing, language. This is very important. We see a lot of mistakes of having half the English in US and half the English in British English. You have to check your spelling. Either yourself using a program like, for example, Grammarly, or get someone else to help you with the quality check. Punctuation marks, correct tense, all reference style according to, if you're writing a manuscript or a review article, you have to check the reference style to avoid any waste of redoing the reference style. After all that, you have to quality check your document either by yourself or by an expert team member or a peer with experience in this topic. So you have to aim for what good looks like for the sponsor or the client. So to be a medical writer, there are two essential knowledges. There are technical knowledges and there are general knowledges. So technical knowledge is the familiarity with the medical concept and terminology. So if you don't have a science background, you won't be able to understand the terminology and you won't be able to convey the message and write it elaborately. So you have to know medical and therapeutic, you have to have medical and therapeutic area knowledge. You have to know the drug process beginning from phase 1 till phase 4. You have to have a fair understanding in biostatistics, and this is really important. So a lot of writers, they say that we're not biostatistician, and that's completely true. However, you have to understand the concept and the method behind the statistics in order to be able to describe it or elaborate it. And you have to know the document guidelines, for example, the knowledge of the concert or the care checklist for case reports or manuscripts or CSRs or other documents. Other general knowledge is very important, that, as we said, language, English, English, English. If you are not a native English speaker, you have to take essential courses and you have to take all what's necessary and read as much as you can and support your language as much as you can. So every word and every sentence you use is fluent, is simple, is short, is to the point, and to avoid any spelling mistakes, any punctuation mark discrepancies, and to support the logic flow of your ideas. It's very important that you have the patience for literature search, and this is really, really important, because part of being a medical writer is spending hours and hours in literature search. So you have to know where to search and what to search for and what is the shortest way to get there. The other part is how to interpret the data, either in tables, in graphs, in texts. You have to find the optimum way, and this comes with practice. The other part is the ethical and legal issues, which is very crucial. So when dealing with medical marketing and dealing with scientific medical writing, it's very important not to be biased to your own message or the message of the client. So if you find a specific information and an opposing information, you have to state both, because ethics in writing is very important to give the complete picture to the reader. And in addition, you have to follow all laws and regulations related to the country you're working in. You have to follow the similarity and check the similarity and plagiarism, and not to copy paste just any words or facts you see. So these are the two knowledges, the technical and the general knowledge. When you use that, you have to apply the 3 E's of learning effectiveness. And recently there was a 4th E introduced. So 10% education, 20% exposure, and 70% experience. And a lot of people may disagree with 10% education. However, I always like to give the example of swimming and riding a bicycle. How much you read and watch videos and learn about swimming, you will never actually learn how to swim unless you jump into the water or ride the bicycle. So you have to get the concept and then write as much as you can and get exposed as much as you can to other people who are doing the same job, and surround yourself with stakeholders and colleagues related to research and medical writing, biostatistics, experts, mentors. All this environment will help you do better. So the most famous question I get and the most repeated question I get, so what should I do? What's the first step? I should do to be a medical writer. So first, you can find tons of online courses you can find on the web or the internet. So you need to be 100% committed because you do not have anyone supervising you. So you have to be 100% committed. You have to have the patience to listen to all, to summarize all, and to complete these courses. You can find free educational videos on YouTube, on Coursera, Udemy, and other institutional websites related to universities. And YouTube has so much hidden gems. If you look for it, I always say you can take an MBA course on YouTube, but not collectively, of course. So you can find Coursera. I recommend two courses which are writing in the sciences and by, of course, Stanford University, and design and interpretation of clinical trials by Johns Hopkins University on Coursera. Udemy has a lot, most of them are paid. And for example, there are 15 errors in scientific writing, but I always recommend to put your basis first by Coursera and then add by YouTube and Udemy. The second part is adopting a specialty, which is important. Read, and read. It's a continuous process of learning. So never say, I've had enough, I know everything. Once you say you know everything, that's the point you realize that you don't know the real magnitude of knowledge and medical writing. So you need to be an expert in all these areas to be a medical writer, reading and understanding in different knowledge areas, different papers, different articles, newspapers, and newsletters related to the medical disease area you want to read in. However, being specialized in a certain specialty gives you an advantage, of course, and more confidence. So, for example, I love to work in pediatrics. I love to work in nephrology, and I love to work in oncology, and I continuously read in them. The other advice is one step at a time. Don't try to do everything at the same time. Start with one type of document writing and then jump to the next when you have enough experience in it. For example, in medical communications, begin with advisory board scripting. You're just scripting what advisors say. So to get the hang of writing, then do presentations which summarizes the up-to-date data. Educational, for example, writing, begin with website content, which is usually short, concise, and to the point, and in a simple language. Then escalate also to booklets, books, brochures, and others. In the regulatory, which takes a lot of effort, begin with CSRs, which is mainly interpreting the outcome of the study, of the results of the study through tables and figures. Then up to the study protocols. So don't try to do all at the same time. Begin one, master one, and then go to the next one. The last thing I'd like to advise is learn from the experts. So don't depend on yourself 100% in learning. Seek knowledge from other writers, your colleagues, from other researchers, from experts, from authors. Experts are usually humble and very helpful if you ask them, but the thing is that we always are afraid to ask experts and researchers or even authors. You can find their context easily over scientific platforms, and be specific when asking a certain question or a topic, because I get this a lot. So for example, how can I write a manuscript? That's a 3-day course. That's not a question to be answered in a few sentences. Ask specific and short questions, like, for example, what's the difference between clinical and statistical significance? It's just a quick answer that will add more to your knowledge. So you can find platforms like LinkedIn. You can look for experts on them, message them for questions, follow their work activities, interact in similar activities. You can find PubMed, you can find corresponding authors and experts on PubMed, add them also to your LinkedIn or ResearchGate profiles. You can find medical writers on Upwork, look for them, and look for who conduct similar project as yours. Get to know them, network with them, engage with them, seek their advice, and add them also on LinkedIn. And please don't be afraid to ask. So the last part of our presentation is having a career in medical writing. So Who requires medical writing services? It's either regulatory or scientific, like for example, CROs and the pharmaceutical industry, and medical communication part related to medical marketing, advertising agencies, and media agencies. So you have to determine which career path you want. Do I want to be a freelancer, or do I want to be a full-time medical writer? If you want to be a freelancer, there are also two ways of doing it. You can either be a full-time freelancer, and you can be a freelancer in addition to your full-time job, if it's allowed, of course. So there are pros and cons for this. Pros of freelancing: you're your own boss, and everybody loves that, but it comes with consequences. You have flexible hours, hopefully, because in the beginning you have flexible hours and you can work whenever you want. But when you're a well-known freelancer, you will have many projects and flexible hours. Rather working 8 hours, you will find yourself working more than 14 hours a day. You can work anywhere, and that's one beautiful thing, that actually you can work every day in a different place and get different vibes of different atmospheres around you. You want to be exposed to several companies, and that's a good thing, that you get experience from CROs, from pharma industries, you can get from marketing agencies, you get the whole package. However, there's no stable monthly income. That's a big problem. You can have a great and a good income one month and have zero income the next month. And the COVID area previously showed affected a lot of freelancers. Less exposure to teamwork and guidance, which is an important thing in your development, not only the scientific development, even in the communication skills part. No clear career path. Think 10 years from now, not now. There are a lot of documents that you do when you're young and you won't be able to do after a certain amount of time. Again, there are no employee benefits like health insurance, paid leaves, and others. So the other part is, if you're determined to be a freelancer, so you have to know these four things, and this is very important. I'd like to highlight that this presentation is recorded and will be present on YouTube as well by the end of today. So you can listen to it again if you'd like, and see the content of the presentation if you'd like. So the first thing is networking. So if you decide to be a freelancer, let everybody know that you're a freelancing medical writer. It will reach the right people sooner than you think. And just meet everybody, attend congresses, attend medical forums, meet CRO and pharma representatives, and always keep in touch. The other thing is personal branding. A lot of our junior colleagues don't know about personal branding and its importance. You have to create an appealing LinkedIn profile. I always say that LinkedIn is as important as your CV or resume. So create an appealing LinkedIn profile, put all details of what you've done and what you want to do, and samples of your work, if it's of course not confidential, and create a branded document of all your previous work. This is really appealing when you send one of your clients a document that has everything you've done in a visual way. It's appealing and shows your professionalism. Share your knowledge for free on different platforms like social media, LinkedIn, through videos, through blogging, freelancing platforms like Upwork, Freelancer. Also build a good profile there. A lot will disagree with me, but however, this is very important, is work for free in the beginning. So in the beginning, you don't have that much experience. Offer your services. Listen, I'm a medical writer, I'm beginning and I'm a junior writer. I have taken these courses, for example, and I want you to write your manuscript for free and gain the experience, and go to other freelancers as well and grow your network to enrich your CV and experience. Seek continuous feedback is very important. Always ask for constructive feedback from the clients you're dealing with and your colleagues, and learn from your mistakes and try not to repeat your mistakes. This is the freelancing part. However, a lot of you also ask, what if I want a full-time job in medical writing? Where do I approach and how do I approach? And the answer is, again, what type of medical writing do you want to spend your time doing? Is it regulatory and research writing? So you can target CROs and the pharma industry. you have to have these criteria in you to be a good medical writer. You have to be a scientific personnel. You have to be have an analytical personality with fair medical knowledge. This is very important. As I said, you don't have to be an expert in everything, but you have to have the knowledge of the terminology and the concepts of different diseases. Patience, patience, patience. You can spend hours and hours just to have an outcome of one paragraph in writing. So you have to have the patience and the interest in research and literature search. You have to have good communication skills because you're going to be dealing with everyone. You're going to be dealing with colleagues. You're going to be with clients, authors, experts, juniors. You have to have good communications in dealing with all of them. And you have to remember that this is mostly an office-based job, and you have to enjoy writing. This is really, really important. However, on the other side, if you want a full-time job in medical communications and you are more into medical marketing, writing, and I see that a lot these days, you have to have a naturally creative personality because you don't go by the rules of writing. You have to be up to the expectations of your client. You have to also have fair medical knowledge. Agility is very important. You have to change according to the concept and the perception of the client. You have to be patient and accept any changes and to be responsive in all changes and feedback. You have to love reading and you have to love learning and to create different documents in different disease areas. And which is really, I enjoy it so much, but it's really tiring. It's to enjoy multiple and diverse meetings. For example, you can have a meeting in the morning in the oncology disease area, and in the evening in diabetes, in the afternoon in heart failure. So you have to know the language and love the interaction with all stakeholders and experts. There are a lot of job titles in medical writing, beginning from regulatory medical writer, principal medical writer, regulatory medical writer, clinical medical writer, and then going to the medical marketing part, scientific communications writer, medical affairs scientist, scientific advisor, or editor. It really depends on the country you're living in. It depends on the industry itself and the portfolio of the company you're working for. So it's very important to read quite carefully the job description of each title, just to make sure that it's what you're doing and want to do. So by this, this is the end of my presentation. However, I have a quick homework for all you guys I want you to do next week. First, I want you to determine your objective. Bring a piece of paper, bring a pen, and sit with yourself. What do I want? To be a full-time freelancer, part-time freelancer, a full-time medical writer? So determine your objective. Start immediately a medical writing course. I really recommend Writing in the Sciences by Stanford University. Know your stakeholders. The same piece of paper, I want you to make a list of 10 CROs, 10 medical agencies, 10 experts, 10 writers, all stakeholders you will be dealing with. So I want you to have a list of at least 50 CROs and experts, writers, and stakeholders. After that, update your personal branding tools this week. So I want a perfect LinkedIn profile. I want you to write about yourself, put samples of work, who you are, what you want, and what's your aspiration, what's your portfolio, and even put your CV, small parts of it, don't put a comprehensive part, of course. And after that, contact all the list that we were talking about. Contact all I defined, say, yes, all of them. Formulate an introductory email, send it to everyone, tell them who you are, what you want, and your aspiration and your plan for being a medical writer, and that you want to engage with them, either being a freelancer or a full-time medical writer. In the end, I'd like to thank you so much for your participation and being with us today. Hopefully, we will be conducting in the next weeks weekly meetings in the same time each Friday. We'll talk about small topics in medical writing. I would love your feedback and all suggested topics that you want to listen about. As I said, short topics, not 2-hour, 3-hour topics. For example, next week, hopefully, I will be talking about writing a manuscript's introduction, also in 30 minutes, and having your questions after that. This is my email. Please, please, please feel free. Send me your feedback and any unanswered questions in the 30-minute question and answer session.